Well, our third episode, we are seeing how the cell actually works because the most small thing that we have on our bodies that's still alive, it's our cells. Basically, what the cell is, it's a place which is contained by the membrane that can sustain some type of environment inside of it, and it can replicate itself. Let's focus on the most important parts that the cell have. As we have said before, the membrane. The membrane is just a structure of atoms called lipids in a certain way, so that the things that are inside are kept inside and the things that are outside are kept outside. Some small atoms or molecules with a few atoms can pass through, like for example water or oxygen, but bigger ones cannot. That is what's a cell, basically. In the center, you have a nucleus, which controls how everything works. And we're gonna see two of the most important parts: the mitochondria and the ribosomes. The mitochondria is obviously the powerhouse of the cell, but now that we know more about atoms, what is actually doing the mitochondria? Well, the mitochondria is taking glucose, which is a sugar that has a lot of electrons, really energetic electrons, in its bonds, as we've seen before, in the bonds of the carbon with the hydrogens. What we are doing here is we are taking those electrons and we are putting them in a molecule that can be more easily give the electrons. I like to think of it with a really nice analogy here. Imagine you have electrons that are like butterflies, or yeah, like butterflies. We have the glucose, which has the butterflies really grab onto them, so you cannot take them away and use them for other purposes, to give it to other molecule that may need it, because it's really grab onto it. And if you wanted to liberate them, it can only do it all at once. So that's why, for example, the wood, which has a lot of glucose or sugar, can burst into flames if you heat it, because all the butterflies are going out at the same time, and we don't want an explosion going or fire going inside our bodies. So what we do is we break the glucose little by little, step by step, inside the mitochondria, so that we get these small butterflies that we then give to a molecule that doesn't really hold on to them that much. It's more sherry. That's a ATP. Really, really, really important. The ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Basically, what it does is it just holds the butterfly really gently, and then if another atom needs it, he says like, "Hey, here you go. You have the butterfly," and that's how you make energy. Now, about the other part, which is also really important, what's a ribosome? Well, that's what makes proteins. Basically, what it's doing, it's putting all these small molecules with a few atoms that are just like this. Oh, sorry, that are just like this. He's just putting them together. Amino acids, which are really small molecules that are really important, can create chains that are really, really, really long chains. So one atom, one molecule, grabs onto the next one, who grabs onto the next one, and well, you have a lot of atoms with a lot of different properties, so they're gonna kinda entangle with each other and create a certain geometrical shape. That shape is gonna create certain structures. For example, imagine you create the shape of a scissor with amino acid. Well, that might cut something, and that's basically how this all works. You have the ribosomes, which are just the places where molecules are smashed onto each other, and that smashing it's powered by the energy that you got in the mitochondria from the glucose, and you extract it in the form of ATP. But how do you know how to smash those atoms together? Well, that's where the DNA comes from. The fabulous DNA. It's just a chain of molecules, not with a really interesting shape. It's just a double helix, but that have a certain order that is our genetic code. And when it comes to the ribosome, each three molecules of the DNA transform into one amino acid. So it's like a code. It's like if you read the word, for example, 8 or I, and then you say hi, you know? Well, the amino acid is just the word hi, and then the little molecules of the DNA are the letters. Also, if you put so many amino acids, a lot of them, you have more words. So it's like, hi, how are you doing? You have a whole phrase. And that's what protein. And proteins are really important because they basically do all the work around the cell. You can have proteins that look like scissors, you can have proteins that look like glue, proteins that look like cars. It's actually crazy. And that's how the cell works basically. It's just doing a lot of reactions that are just atoms sharing electrons or taking electrons from one atom and giving it to another. That's basically it. I hope you now understand how life works.